Here's another political observation. About 14 years ago, someone I went to college with ran for and won the governorship of the state of Wisconsin. His name is Scott Walker. Never met him while we were in college, but I'd bet you $100 he went to see my band playing some of the bars around Milwaukee. Anyhow, his campaign didn't interest me much, mostly seemed to talk about turning down the high-speed rail money, and most of my Republican friends seemed to agree with him. I was unaware until that point that my Republican friends didn't like trains, but whatever. He won and then turned around and executed what was probably the genuine mission of his candidacy. He instituted something called Act 10, which gutted the public sector unions, including the teachers union and the social workers union. Now, two of my brothers are teachers, and my father, although retired, had worked his entire life as a caseworker, a social worker with the Department on Aging, Milwaukee County. Needless to say, they resented giving up their 6-car garages and their second home in the Caribbean, which is the only reason anyone gets into school teaching and social work. So they went to the protests, I went with them. And during these protests, there was a pizzeria in Madison, Wisconsin called Ian's Pizza. And at a certain point, they were delivering pizzas, and the drivers let the protesters know that the registers were closing down. It was just going to be the drivers and the telephone operators and the ovens. No money. They were just going to give us pizza. It was beautiful. And this being, 2011, PayPal donations started pouring in from around the world, including a significant number of them from Cairo, from Tahrir Square, which was in the midst of the Arab Spring, an uprising that began when a fruit vendor named Mohammed Bouazizi immolated himself in order to protest the crappy working conditions, the unfairness that he felt. And that spread like wildfire all through the Middle East. And working class Arab people just rose up. And they were signaling to us that they'd like to buy us pizza, an act of generosity and an act of solidarity. Now, at my protests, I believe that my brothers and my father and I and all the people supporting all the teachers and social workers, I believe that we were right, but we were also middle-class bourgeois people arguing about pension benefits. The worst thing that was going to happen to me at those protests was that I was going to get drawn into a drum circle with some hippies. Whereas in Cairo, much worse happened to many of the protesters in the Arab Spring. I have thought thousands of times. I have reflected on it. That gesture of solidarity from people who were considerably more oppressed and exploited than me and my family and friends. That they were telling us, we've got your backs. Maybe they were telling us this is all one struggle. The struggle of the many against the few who are rich and powerful. Now, there's an election ahead, and I want to just submit this. Everyone who is going to vote for Donald Trump, almost every one of them, I bet you, believes that they are not being done right by the few and powerful. And you know what? I think they're right. Also, just about everyone who is going to be voting for Kamala Harris, and that, of course, includes me. I'm not just going to be voting for her. I'm going to be sending postcards, I'm going to be donating, and I'm going to be making social media videos. I'm going to put my shoulder to the wheel, but if you're voting for Kamala Harris, I think it's a very good bet that you feel that the few and powerful are not doing right by you. And I think you're right. If you are an Arab, anywhere in the Arab world, I bet you are convinced that the few and the powerful are not doing right by you. And I think you're right. If you're a Palestinian, if you're an Israeli, if you're a Syrian or a Yemeni, if you are Portuguese, if you are Taiwanese, if you are Chinese, Russian, if you are Chilean, if you are from Madagascar, I bet you have a sense that the powerful, wealthy few are not doing right by you, and I think you're right. So I would just lay that out there. And it doesn't alter my choice. I'm going to be voting for Kamala Harris. But I'm doing it because I think that in the long run, that will be some small part of contributing to a world in which the many have a little bit more of a voice. I feel like that's a solid reason to choose a candidate. All right. Good luck. Keep your chin up, everybody. Do everything you can. I think it's 56 days. Go get them. 8 weeks. Thank you.